All right, welcome back to the show, Bryan Reeves.
Jason Gaddis, Jason with a Y. What up, man?
What's up, dude? Good to see you.
Nice to see you as well, man. Good to be back. Appreciate the invite.
Awesome. Yeah, awesome having you back. We thought it would be fun to have a conversation about choosing her every day. That's also a title of your new book, which we'll get into. But I get really intrigued about this notion of choosing your partner and like fully, right?
Yeah.
So when we just start there and say, there's a lot of value in choosing someone daily. What do you mean by that?
So the title of this book and choose her every day or leave her. That was really a big epiphany that actually was gifted to me by a client that I was working with who was also struggling, actually a woman at the time who was struggling in her relationship. And as we were in session and she just sort of had this, she's like, I need to just choose my partner. I need to choose him. It's like, because if I'm not choosing him, what am I doing?
Right.
And in that moment, this flood of memory came back to me. And that's what I love about coaching. It's like I love my clients. I'm so glad I can help, but I'm just coaching myself all the damn time. Learning so much in my coaching. Yeah. And this flood of memories came back to this relationship that I had been in for 5 years or so in my in my early 30s. And man, I did not choose my partner on most days. It's like I was reluctantly, half-heartedly showing up for that, begrudgingly showing up for that relationship, and then wondering why she was so angry all the time.
Yeah.
And of course, I would just use that as more excuse to not really be all in. Even though I might say I was all in, I wasn't, and she could feel it. And so it was just this insane cycle that I was certainly playing my part to perpetuate. And so that really started that question: what does it mean to actively choose my partner, show up every day, and in a sense, through my actions, really, Jason, not even just some poetry, but through my actions. How do I choose my partner every day?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I think in our last episode, I think we had a similar story where kind of bouncing around relationships and then being in one, it sounds like, where you weren't fully choosing, right? This partner every day.
Totally.
Yeah, and it sounds like your partner, there's an impact, right? Like you're describing when one of us, in this case, let's keep it heteronormative just for this example, when the man isn't choosing the woman every day, there's an impact on the woman. And in this case, it sounds like the woman at the time was really angry.
Oh yeah. She was really angry. And when I looked back over the history of all my relationships, all all the women that I had partnered with were inevitably angry with me.
That's so interesting because mine were anxious and insecure. Kind of like an attachment thing, like
sure.
And then I would get so irritated that they were insecure.
Yeah.
I just projected a ton of insecurity onto them. I didn't know that I was also very insecure.
Yeah.
But it was like, oh, you're so annoying because you're so insecure, and that's why I'm not choosing you every day.
Right. Well, and I think the women that I partnered with, I think that it was an insecurity and anxiousness. They could feel my lack of really showing up and really choosing all in, being all in the relationship. And the women I chose, because I really needed to hear it loud. I needed in a way, I sort of subconsciously knew I need the anger.
Yeah.
So that I can hear it.
Right.
And so I really identify with that. I think it was an insecurity that they were picking up on something that was legit.
And it sounds like that was the feedback that sort of, did you eventually snap out of that trance, or what happened?
Well, I snapped out of it when I was single. I did not snap out of it when I was in relationship. It was only through a lot of deep introspective work in the really the 6 years between that 5 year relationship that I wrote about in Choose Her Every Day or Leave Her, and the relationship I'm in now with Sylvie, my wife. It was in between, and all the work I was doing, and I
Hmm.
just, again, I was hearing, you know, in a way, as a single person, it was easier for me to hear what women were saying as I was in conversation and workshops and doing my own studying with my teachers, reading all the stuff that I was doing. I could finally start to hear what my past partners had been desperately
Hmm.
wanting me to hear. But frankly, they didn't have the skill to say it in a
Sure.
way that I was really able to hear it either, any more than I had the skill to really communicate what I needed to communicate at the time.
Yeah. And as you were reflecting, what was the message that they, as you were single, that they communicated that you could hear?
Yeah. It was something like don't leave me alone in this.
Hmm.
Don't leave me alone. Don't abandon me in this experience. Be with me in this experience. Whether, there was this moment
Hmm.
that I reflect back to that 5 year relationship towards the end, where this woman we were in a stairwell in an apartment building, and she was so angry with me. And but I was in that, I had my arms crossed, and I was like, just no. I was so shut down. I was no, just no. I am not
Uh-huh.
hearing this, doing this, feeling this. And I remember I left that stairwell. She didn't want me to go, and I left, and I drove across town to wherever I was going. And I think back to that moment, Jason, because now what I see is a woman in deep, deep pain.
Mm. Hmm.
And it breaks my heart that I couldn't see it then,
Yeah.
because I would have, again, I'm not, I don't want to dismiss her lack of skill in communicating. I mean, she had there was abusive language that she would use, and I don't want to diminish that, and I don't want to put all the responsibility on one partner's shoulders. These are co-conspiracies we're up to in relationship. But I can 1,000% see just how consistently I refused
Hmm.
to be with her pain,
Yeah.
to just sit
Yeah.
with her in her pain, to even acknowledge her pain.
Yeah. I mean, God, I can so relate there. Yeah. And what, why do you think that was? Is it because
Mm.
yeah, I'm just so curious, like, why you couldn't be with her pain?
I mean, so many reasons, but I mean, number one, I'm a boy. I grew up a boy. I was taught no pain, no gain.
Hmm.
I mean, you know this one. Don't
Yeah.
don't don't feel your feelings. Well, if I'm not allowed to feel my feelings, why is she allowed to feel hers? No pain, no gain, woman. Come on,
Totally.
pick yourself, positive mental attitude. See the
Right.
positive side of everything.
Stop being so damn sensitive and
Stop
feeling
being
and shit. And
stop
yeah.
being a girl. Here I am. She's a woman. I'm telling her to stop be a woman. Stop be a girl. At least in boy parlance, in
Yeah.
misogynistic boy parlance.
Totally.
You know, that's just one layer of it. Another layer of it is just, in my home. I mean, I grew up with a working mother who, for much of my formidable years, was single and working, and just didn't really, there wasn't a lot of emotion coming out of
Hmm.
her. She was
Hmm.
just busy, man. So, you know, dad's gone, mom's is working. Nobody was really bringing emotionality to my home. Like, my young little nervous system had no adult to mirror back emotionality.
Yeah.
Nobody, and my parents divorced when I'm 4 years old. Well, nobody really sat with me through the pain and the sadness and the suffering in the years that
Yeah.
followed of
So
my
you didn't even
family
get
being
the
split.
right. You didn't even get the download. So like, how could you expect yourself to be able to sit with her pain? Right.
Same. And I learned to self-soothe because nobody was there to help me hold my pain. I'm getting bullied at school.
Yeah.
I'm feeling rejected by girls. Nobody's sitting with me through this. So I self-soothe. I just figure it out.
Yeah.
Well, naturally, in my adult relationships, I'm going to expect my partner to self-soothe, figure it out.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to soothe me. Why the hell should you expect anyone to soothe you?
Yeah.
So all of this, and a lot of that's a lot of anger and shame.
Yeah.
There's so much.
Totally.
And so
Yeah.
it's like I was set up to fail.
Right. Yeah. It's so intense. And then I probably will get into it at some point here. Just, I know you and I share a common interest around raising boys differently, right?
Yeah.
So maybe we'll circle back to that. In terms of, so you got this download, you couldn't be with your own pain, so you never learned how, so therefore clearly you can't be with someone else's, right?
Totally.
Did a lot of work on yourself, eventually chose your now wife. I'm curious just about that part of the story. I don't know that I've heard that, where you decided to put your staff on the ground or whatever and choose her. Can you walk us through like what?
Oh yeah.
What happened there?
Oh yeah. Well, when I met her, I was 41 years old, and I had learned so much about my part in all of the disastrous, calamitous relationships I'd been in over the years. And finally, I'd seen so much. So, the funny thing is, when I met Sylvie, again, I'd been doing this work for so many years now, and I'd already been coaching couples. Even as a single man, I'm coaching couples because, look, it's really helpful to know what not to do. I'd learned so much about what not to do.
Right.
And I had some great ideas about what to do. And so I was coaching couples, and then I met Sylvie, and I'm like, I'm at the top of my game, Jason. I'm like, world-renowned relationship blogger. I have a business, coaching couples. Like, dude, I got this shit licked. I know how to do relationship like nobody.
I think I know where this is going.
Yeah. And then I met Sylvie, and it was like, uh-oh, holy shit. Now the real work began. But one of the things that I was so committed to was actively choosing her every day. And I'll give you an example about what I mean by that, like how that actually looked.
Yeah.
So, in the first, we didn't live together when we met, or even we didn't live together for probably 2 years or so. And when we would spend the night apart, I made sure that I was the first one to reach out to her every morning. So for me, it was an act of, I choose you today. I'm showing up for you today. I'm reaching out to you. You don't she didn't have to come looking for me. I was always the one looking for her. And I'll tell you, it wasn't always comfortable. I didn't always want to do it. In fact, plenty of times I didn't want to do it for various reasons, just because I could just feel that, oh man, I have to do relationship again today. Shit, man, I got work to do, or I just want to do something else, or I want to just whatever.
Yeah.
But I could feel that, and I knew that that's just a slippery slope for me into, again, just phoning it in. She'll find me. She'll make it happen. She's not going anywhere. That's a slippery slope to me taking for granted the relationship, and ultimately, again, not choosing her.
Yeah, and then sliding back into patterns of yours of avoiding and distracting.
Absolutely. So that's just one real tangible example of how I was committed to acting out, choosing her every day.
And you guys have been together 4 or 5 years or so?
Coming up on 6.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah.
And how far in did you choose marriage? Because that's another choice you made.
Great question. So, and
why did you choose marriage? Because some people, it's like, it's just a piece of paper. I don't really need to do this these days. It's like, doesn't kind of matter to some people. So I'm curious why you said, I want marriage.
Yeah. Well, you know what I say to people who say it's just a piece of paper? Oh yeah? Then sign the damn piece of paper.
Right.
And then tell me it's just a piece of paper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
good point.
That's an act that means something. It's a threshold crossing. And, I thought that Sylvie and I, we got engaged in Ireland at the Cliffs of Moher, epic location in the west of Ireland, about 1.5 years into our relationship. And actually, truthfully, I sort of got shocked awake when that this was a good next step, when one of my closest friends here in LA, who had met his girlfriend at the same time, the same month I met Sylvie, all of a sudden I get this picture pops up on my phone of his girlfriend's hand wearing this big old ring. And this was a couple months before Sylvie and I were going to Ireland. And I was like, oh, is it that time? And I'm thinking, well, it's a year and a half. I mean, look, just no better time, or I don't know. I don't know if I fully agree with that. But anyway, it just felt like, well, yeah, let's do this. I mean, I'm all in on this woman. She's amazing. I think with Sylvie too, I think I was also at an age, 41. I just realized there's no better woman out there anymore, if there ever was before. But there's different, but not better. And it's like, I'm just ready. I'm ready to be all in. So I proposed to her, and it was quite an awkward proposal, despite my best laid plans. But I kind of felt like, this is it. That's it. That was the marriage. Like, we're engaged. It's good. We're done. We're good. We're engaged. We're in. Until we actually got married. And Jason, we only finally got married about 3 weeks ago.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, because the pandemic, we were going to get married in Ireland a year ago, but the pandemic put the kibosh on that.
Right.
So the crazy thing is, we got married about 3 weeks ago, and we did the Zoom wedding with a masked justice of the peace who works for the local county. Her name was Michelle. We'd never met her before. We could hear other people in the background doing marriage ceremonies for other citizens of the county. And I thought it was just a paperwork exercise. Let's just do the paperwork exercise. But I'll tell you, man, when we said the vows that the state gave us to say, we didn't even write our own vows for this. When I said the vows, I got really emotional, and I didn't expect that. But I know it's because this is the power of ritual. This is the power of that a ceremony, no matter how simple it may be, it signals to the psyche something has changed.
Right.
Something has
Completely.
changed. It's a crossing of a threshold.
Yeah.
And again, I used to also think the same, it's just a piece of paper. We don't need that. I'm all in, but again, to those who say that, I say, well, then sign the damn paper, and then let's have a conversation about how it's just a piece of paper.
Totally. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
And it sounds like when you proposed to her quite a while ago, that's when you felt like you were all in.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm curious how that threshold, what that did to change your relationship with her. Because I think listeners, it could be important to hear, like, all right, you felt different. I get that. But how did that impact her? And then what did it actually do for the two of you? I'm curious.
Well, the day it happened, we were at the Cliffs of Moher, and I had this whole plan in place, and at just the moment I kind of got down on two knees, actually, because we were sitting down, I left my body. Like, I just disassociated. I was just something. It was
scared.
It was, I guess so, scared. Just like, I don't know what's happening here. What am I doing?
Yeah.
And I read the things. I had some postcards that I wrote my sort of speech on. And Sylvie shared with me later that, when I left my body, she left hers. So neither one of us were home for that moment.
Okay.
And, she cried a little and said, of course. And I put this ring on her. And we spent the next few hours in a bit of a daze. Like, neither one of us really got what had just happened. And I think it took a few days for us to really catch up with the momentousness of what was just what we just did. This agreement we stepped into, this engagement we stepped into. And it's a difficult question to answer, Jason, because I think while something changed at the same time, I think the biggest thing didn't change. We still weren't, there still was like that marriage threshold that we crossed a few weeks ago. At least for me, it was different. Something shifted there that didn't shift when we simply got engaged.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, both are thresholds, right? And one is more kind of sealing the deal even more. And
I will tell you this, because Sylvie shared this with me, and there was some mourning that she had to go through, actually, to and me as well in my own way, but she had to go through some mourning. There was a giving up. And I think our culture doesn't make space for this for women and men to grieve the life we had when we step into marriage. I think Sylvie, there was some deep, deep stuff that she had to process and go through to on her way into this container of marriage with me.
Yeah, I think that's true for a lot of people, that there's because it is a letting go, right? I'm letting go of a certain level of me, myself, and I, and independence, and it's my way. I can do whatever the fuck I want. And then for some people, it's also letting go of future partners or future potential sexual relationships. I mean, there's a lot there to go,
No doubt.
I'm not choosing that. I'm choosing this person.
That's right. And I'm choosing a human being. I'm letting go of whatever fantasy mate I had envisioned, whatever white knight in shining armor thing, or damsel in distress. In my case, the perfect goddess that doesn't actually exist.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of boys harbor in fantasy. Well, Sylvie's fucking amazing, and she's human, just as I am. Just as I am, there's ways that we disappoint each other regularly.
Yeah.
In our humanity.
Completely. Which is good so that you can grow and be a human being, right?
Exactly. That's right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Greetings, listeners. Thanks for listening. Are you new to the Relationship School or my work? If you're new, you'll probably want to head over to relationshipschool.com/group to join our free private Facebook community that's growing, that's huge, and very, very active, where you can get challenge and support around your relationship issues, problems, inspirations, wins, losses. There's our certified coaches are in there, and there's just a big group of like-hearted, like-minded people. If you feel yourself like alone, God, where do I connect to fellow podcast people? It's this place, relationshipschool.com/group. Okay. I do Facebook Lives in there occasionally. I answer questions, and you're going to also get access to some free recordings, okay, that no one else has. So relationshipschool.com/group. So if there's a few different directions I could go here, but I want to circle back to your training as a boy for a minute. What is it that, because you do what's known as men's work, you care about helping men wake up and be amazing dads and partners and people in the world, right? Actually leading with heart and just being in the world in a good way. Where does this start, in your opinion, where sort of men get off on the wrong foot and then they turn into boys, I guess, grown boys or man boys?
Right.
What's your take on that?
What I find is that men don't start hitting the limits of their adolescent way of being and thinking until our late 30s or early 40s at the earliest. So in other words, in our culture, we can get away with not taking responsibility, with just swiping right, discarding what doesn't work for us. Money seeking, status seeking, whatever. Just we can get away with all of that. I mean, some men for a lifetime.
Oh yeah.
Work to get away with it and do, or at least, I don't know, I wouldn't say get away with it, but at least that's their way of being.
Yeah.
But what I find is many men, it's in their late 30s and early 40s, start to realize, oh shit, I can't live like this anymore. Because if I do, I'm going to be alone. I'm going to just be an old cranky man. No one's gonna alone or I may be surrounded by people, but I'm still going to be miserable. Something ain't working in the way that I'm showing up.
Yep.
And so I find a lot of men, and it often is intimate relationship that brings men to this realization.
Completely.
So at this age, it's when a man finally goes, okay, I can't do this by myself. I need support. And
Yeah.
I'm finally ready and willing to ask for help.
So is it pain then that brings men kind of on their knees to join the path and to start looking at themselves? Is that?
I think overwhelmingly, yes. You know, I look at myself. I've always been growth oriented and, you know, a so-called spiritual seeker and into personal growth. You know, went to my first sort of Tony Robbins experience in my early 20s, and excuse me, and yet it still took women essentially not tolerating my adolescent behavior before I really figured out, okay, shit, I really need to look at me in all of this.
Yeah. That just brings up another cool tangent here, side tangent potentially, which is I'm hearing you say that even though you were into personal growth, you still didn't get it.
Totally. Oh, if anything, I would use the personal growth tools I was learning to try to enroll women in how they needed to change so that we could be happier.
Right. Totally. I'm curious in the personal growth scene, just your take on, not that you're out there surveying everybody, but just you're an influencer and you kind of listen to things and people. I'm curious what you think of, or how many men, I mean, it's a random question, but is it common, we'll just say it that way, that personal growth, guys that are into personal growth use personal growth to avoid relationship problems?
I think overwhelmingly again, yes. In fact, I was just working with a group of men this morning, had about 10 men on an international Zoom call, and we were exploring the mother wound. And I won't go into that, but there was a man, one of the questions I asked them is, what do you most want from a lover? What do you most seek in a lover? And one of the men, in response to that question, wrote this beautiful sort of poetic piece that really was that just to sum up, it was about like, I want a lover who will revel in spiritual liberation and freedom, and who will, you know, love me fully as I am. And basically he was saying, I want a woman who will just who will accept all of my behaviors and choices and let me get away with whatever I want to get away with because, you know, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It was this beautiful, poetic, very well articulated kind of spiritual poetry of a man that you could tell has been in the spiritual seeking, personal development work for a long time. It was a beautiful ideal. And I could just see the woman on the other side of that who just wants to kill him on a daily basis. Because that was me. The guy that just had all the right answers, kind of knew all the spiritual, had read all the spiritual books, had done so many of the workshops and had cultivated, again, what I call this masculine utopia, where we are so perspective oriented that we don't feel anything. We don't have any problems because we see all the perspectives. Ultimate liberation. I don't have to feel or participate in life at all because I'm just looking at it. And now I'm going to partner with a woman, and basically where that leads is, hey, join me here where neither of us feel anything and just are perspectivizing everything. And that doesn't make for a good intimate relationship.
No, it's so ungrounded, right? And it's just like, good luck with conflict, good luck with when things get hard.
Exactly. When feelings arise, as they are going to do if we're going to be connected to our bodies.
Oh man. You know, so did you hit him over the head with something? A little Bryan Reeves insight or something?
Of course. Of course. I just very lovingly said, well, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
And you know, in the same conversation, you know, he shared, so the other question I asked is, what do you most resist in a lover? What do you most resist? What is the most unwanted thing that you resist in a lover? And one of the answers, I think it was the same man. Sadness. I resist sadness in my partner. You know, to which I shared that, well, just so you know, my partner cries every damn day. And she's told me that if she doesn't cry every damn day, it won't go well for us because she's going to then get stuck and stagnant. Her body's going to shut down. It's just not going to be a good experience for us. So, my practice. So anyway, and on and on and on.
Yeah. So many, I guess it's just a kind of a reminder to the listener here to watch the tendency of you or people to use personal growth tools, spiritual tools to avoid relationship issues.
Yeah. I once took a girlfriend to a landmark education weekend. It was this 5-year relationship, and I took her to Landmark. And the tragedy of it is both of us spent that whole weekend wondering what the hell the other was learning from it, hoping the other person got something from it.
So they could get their shit together for the other person. Is that what you mean?
So, of course. Yeah. That's like,
you change. Man,
that was a good point the teacher just made. I hope she got that so that she doesn't do that thing that she does that pisses me off. And again, it all comes back to me not being able to just be with my partner's pain.
So should you drag your partner or bring your partner to coaching or therapy if they don't want to come?
Drag them.
Or bring them.
Yeah. I like to, I'm a proponent of relationship as invitation, not obligation.
Mm-hmm.
Invitation, not obligation. If your partner doesn't want to grow, doesn't want to do that work, okay. I mean, you can't get a man to do anything he doesn't want to do. And if you can't get him to do it, you probably won't respect him, and he probably won't respect himself.
Will you give us a demo? Let's pretend I'm your partner. Will you invite me and then give me an example of doing some obligatory thing and then inviting me?
Great.
Just so people know what you're talking about.
So obligating. So look, you need therapy. You need to do therapy. You have to go to therapy. We need to go together, or just, I'm out of here.
Okay. Obligation. Yep.
That's obligation. It's like ultimatum. Obligations are all about ultimatums.
Okay.
An invitation sounds like, look, I'm really struggling in our relationship, and I really want to have an amazing experience with you. I want to create something beautiful with you, and I'm struggling. And I don't know if you're struggling as well, but I'm struggling. And I would really like to do something that can help us do and feel better. What I'd like to do is, I'm thinking therapy. How would that sound for you?
Okay. Invitation.
So that's invitation. And let's say my partner, which often happens, says, nah, I'm not into that.
Yeah.
Right? That often happens. No, I'm not into that. It's, well, if you're struggling,
we're fine. We'll figure it out.
We're fine. We'll figure it out. Or if you're struggling, go handle it.
Yeah.
That's what I might have said in the past. Well, you're having a problem. Go handle that shit.
Yeah.
Not my problem, which is insane.
Right.
So invitation is, again, well, I want you to know I am doing what I can do. I am trying to figure it out. I'm trying to work with what's going on for me. I don't want to blame you. I know sometimes I might, and I apologize because I know you're doing the best you know how to do too. And I love you. I care about you. And I'm going to hang in here as long as I can. It would be really helpful if you could help me as well. Again, going to therapy, I think could be a helpful solution. I would love it if you'd be willing to try, but I accept that you may not be, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. I'll hang in here as long as I can, I promise you, and I will do my part.
Yeah. Much more reasonable, right?
It's invitation. It's an honest revealing of what's happening for me.
Yeah.
Owning that this is happening for me. This is my experience. And ultimately acknowledging that, my partner, you're an adult. You're allowed to choose your path. You don't have to go the way I want to go.
Yeah.
I'm honoring your sovereignty, and I'm still making a strong and heartfelt invitation. I'm telling you, I want you to come with me. I want to have a great experience, and I want you there. Mm-hmm. And if you don't want to choose that, I'm willing for that too. It would break my heart. It's not what I want. But, again, invitation, not obligation.
Cool. So I love that distinction. So listener, you want to rewind that, maybe take notes, that little section there, because I think that's very important. Because, there are a lot of listeners that are with someone who's a little resistant, right? They don't want to do the work or go to therapy or coaching or read the book or listen to this fucking podcast. So this is, I think, an important modern day conversation we're in is one person wants to grow and the other one doesn't. And how do we deal with that, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. Or leave her is one of the exit comments of your title of your book. Choose her every day or leave her.
Yeah.
What's the move there that's conscientious, that's considerate? Like how does someone actually leave when you say or leave,
Well, it's a big question. I'm a child of divorce. My parents split when I was 4 years old, and my family would never again be together. That's also a good thing. My mom and my dad were horrible partners for each other. I'm really glad they divorced. I would have been a neurotic basket case had they stayed together. I'm neurotic enough as it is. Thank God they divorced, and it still was one of the most sad and painful experiences of my life to this day.
Sure.
So I am absolutely a proponent of staying in partnership no matter what happens, of learning how to communicate, how to speak honestly and with kindness always. And when I work with couples, I don't, and I say this on the paperwork that they sign before we begin our work together, that this work won't necessarily keep you together. It might even help you discover that your time together is complete, that it would serve you best to end the relationship. So, I can never answer that for a couple. Everyone has to find their own way with that.
Yeah.
But I am committed to always staying in partnership, even through that experience. And what that means is, again, just to break that down, as I just said, it's learning how to communicate honestly what is actually happening in my experience, and with kindness and sensitivity to how that might impact and land with the person I'm engaging with.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and then are you also saying, if I'm not on board with that type of view and or I'm on board with that type of view, but I find myself with someone who doesn't want to play, I'm imagining you're saying you would support them getting a divorce. If it's
I'm not clear. You mean if one person...
If one person's just a hell no and they're clamping down, right, and they don't want to work on it and they don't want to go to therapy, they don't want to do conflict resolution stuff, they're just a hell no. Like, are you saying they should still stay together?
No, I'm not saying either, because I don't give advice. I never know what a couple should do. But what I often find myself in the position of is helping them understand where this goes from here. And it usually gets worse. It usually doesn't get better. Right. They're very likely heading more towards a crisis that will force something. I don't know what that might look like. But look, we humans have a remarkable capacity to live inside of extreme discomfort for a very long time.
Yeah. Especially with all the medication everywhere, right?
Totally. Yeah. So look, as much as I also, I seek that masculine utopia where we have no problems. Everybody's completely liberated and free from suffering. That's just not life in a human body.
Yeah.
And so again, I don't ever know what a couple should do. Every situation is unique, but I know that it is far too painful for me to be with someone who is not growth oriented. And I can't imagine the circumstances within which I would choose to stay in that kind of a relationship for myself.
I'm with you 100%. Totally. Well, Bryan, it's been great chatting. I'm curious if you'll tell us about your book. I've got it right here. Choose Her Every Day or Leave Her. Give us a little plug for that, and we can send people to the right place.
Thank you. So Choose Her Every Day or Leave Her. It's really for two people. It's for the man who's really ready to stop sucking at relationships, who's ready to understand why he has been flailing and failing to do intimacy well for all of these years, and who really wants to deepen in his capacity to show up for love and for relationship. And it's also for the woman who also has been struggling and suffering inside of intimacy, who's been wanting to love, particularly a man. I mean, I have same-sex people who read my book as well, but I'm predominantly heterosexual, and I write from that perspective. So just want to acknowledge that. But it's for also the woman who really wants to understand what the hell is going on with this man or men that I'm so desperately wanting to love and wanting to love me. What is happening here?
Yeah.
And so it's for the woman for whom being deeply validated in her pain and what she's been experiencing would be of service to her, and for whom it would be helpful to get insight on what are men carrying, what are we struggling with, so that she can also have more understanding and clarity about what we're up to. And also it's just for the couple who wants some communication skills, practical tips and tools for how to communicate and resolve jealousy and things like this. So
yeah, amazing. And where do people pick it up?
It's online everywhere right now. It's on Amazon, it's around the world, and probably wherever you get books online, you can find it. Also on my website, BryanReeves.com.
BryanReeves.com.
Bryan with a Y, yeah.
Bryan with a Y. And Instagram handle, again, you're pretty active there, and Facebook?
Yep, yeah. Bryan Reeves Insight on Instagram.
Yeah, cool. And we'll include all these links in the show notes, folks, if you want to visit our site there. So you can just click on a button. Makes it easy, so you don't have to remember. Awesome, Bryan. Well, dude, it's really good to see you again. Thanks for putting your heart and your experience out in the world to help men and also women and just all of us get better at this stuff called a relationship.
Thank you, Jason. Really appreciate you inviting me on, man. And I look forward to having you on my podcast to talk about your upcoming book very soon.
Oh, hell yeah. I look forward to that too. Yeah, my best to your wife, and congrats again, dude, on the recent marriage.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Nice. All right, folks. Action step here, other than check out Bryan Reeves, of course, at Bryan Reeves Insight on Instagram, and then BryanReeves.com. This guy's some of his blogs are like so over the top good. So make sure you check him out and get his new book if it resonated. Choose Her Every Day or Leave Her. So here's your action step. It's a little edgy. Okay. I want you to write this down. I choose my current partner. This is if you're partnered, right? I've got one for you single people too, so just stand by. I choose my partner right now, and I'm going to choose them every day, okay? And if you're feeling ambivalent about even writing that down, I want you to consider leaving them. I know that's kind of a bold statement, but it's sort of like, are you in or not? You know, it's very straightforward if you think about it, conceptually. I get that it's harder in practice. Single people, I choose myself. I choose to embrace who I am every day. And here's the thing. Remember, if we can't embrace ourselves or parts of ourselves every day, we target the area where we're judging ourselves, or we feel like we have low self-worth, and we start to actually put a plan in place and start working on that part of us so that we can be in more acceptance of that part of ourselves, appreciating it instead of judging it. Okay? Cool. Thanks, guys, for listening. Make sure you subscribe. It's just so easy when you subscribe to podcasts, how they just pop up when there's a new episode, right? Great. I always love questions, by the way. If you have questions, drop them in our Facebook group. That's relationshipschool.com/community. Or email us, info@relationshipschool.com. Just label it podcast question, okay? I do like answering questions on social or on the podcast. Thanks, y'all, and we'll talk soon. if you're in pain relationally and you need immediate support, our coaches can help you. I've trained almost 100 coaches at this point, relationship coaches that are amazing humans, and they have the chops to help you get through this hard time, this hard moment you're going through. Or if you want to actually hire a coach and have someone in your corner to continue to up-level your communication skills, your listening skills, your conflict skills, these folks are incredible, okay? So all you need to do is go to relationshipschool.com/MRC. That stands for My Relationship Coach. So relationshipschool.com/MRC, right? If you want immediate, direct, effective help, check them out. Hey, thanks so much for listening. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Share one of these videos with a friend. We want to help the planet get their act together around relationships, and you are one of them, so thank you.